creche is British and it's for very young children.
For like mostly breastfeeding children, no?
Right.
Till up to 3, I think, creche. Then the play daycare or play school, 3 onwards, up to 6. From my point of view, I feel they should just send the kids when they are the right age. It doesn't matter whether they are smarter than the other child or not.
The signs that I look for personally are how energetic they are, because that means they need to use that energy. So the energy level. And then another thing is if they are already showing signs of curiosity. Preschools and ECCDs are supposed to have structured, some sort of structured learning. Play schools, that's where you asked earlier, is more socializing.
Like the ECCD, no?
Or the 3-year-olds, you know, like, 2, 3, 4 years, they're socializing, playing more. So it's more play-based and a little less structure.
Parents are always even teaching you how to socialize. Now you tell a child, say hello. If she just wants to say hello, it's her way. You are like, sit straight, say hello, say nicely, head up, head down.
It is mainly about just doing in front of them, because when you just do things, then they know what to do. Because when you tell them what to do, then it becomes like, oh, I need to do this. But when they watch you do something, they go, oh, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I also think that as a parent and as the adult who is responsible to move your child onto the next social structure, into the, you should be prepared yourself. So, so because the child actually emulates you. Whatever you're thinking, however you're feeling, they are actually projecting you. My suggestion to young parents is to be curious. You have to be curious about the ECCD that's near you. If it's for convenient, then go to the one that's near you, and then speak to the proprietor, the facilitators. Just have a look around. I'm sure that most of us are happy to answer your questions. Also listen to hearsays, like what are people saying about this particular place's service, and then just know what you want for your child from that center, because some centers are very play-based, some are sort of structured, academic, some are in between. So know what you want for your child, and then go and then visit. I think visiting ahead is important.
Currently, there are 495 ECCDs in the country. 51 of them are privately owned. And definitely visit the ECCD centers, ask questions, express your concerns, because you will only find your answers if you voice the questions out aloud. You mentioned about potty training, Mola, that the child, for him or her to be ready for the center, ECCD center, he has to be potty trained. I was also wondering, is it necessary for the child to be easily understood or verbally competent enough to be at a daycare?
So they should at least be understood. At least if the child, because like Ma'am Tsering is saying about inclusion, about including children with maybe verbal delays or verbal communication delays or any other developmental delays, in that case maybe their way of communicating is different. And in that case then the parent has to be vocal about it from the very beginning. And I think good facilitators will be able to address that right away. So as long as there's some sort of way to say, oh, when she says she wants to go to, she needs to go, she says, you know, she has her own word, and that's fine too. But at least there should be some way for the child to be understood. Mula. I think that. And then the whole thing with potty training, I think, is just the fact that it's a developmental milestone for little children. And when you accomplish something like that, a task like that, the kid feels so good about himself, herself, and even the parents feel. No, La? I think you're the parents here.
We're so proud.
You're so proud of yourself about such a difficult task, but you got it done, so that you have this joint achievement. No, La? Just to go through something like that and then come into the bigger social circle, I think helps the child be more confident in their surrounding, in their setting. Another thing is, I have seen it myself, when a child has like a mishap, you know, like it has a negative effect on the self-esteem. So you don't want that for your child. You want to protect some instances can be avoided. So why let your child go through that embarrassment?
You mentioned something about special needs or children living with disability.
Yes.
Is there a separate ECCD for them, or do they all go to the same?
You can answer, no, because you're really involved with that.
Actually, what research says is that it's better for children with needs to be included rather than to be for them to be pulled out. So so they go to the same ECCDs, and I think now the government actually is trying to make no ECCDs inclusive. It's just good for the child's development, not just for that one child, but for the whole group, because they start to see that there are other kinds of children, you know, children with needs. Oh, maybe I should help them. That whole compassion thing comes out of children. So I think it's good for everybody. So it's encouraged that they be included.
It normalizes difference.
Yeah,
differences. It makes it okay. And I think having friends who are very different from them and being in a school where you see them often prepares them to see differences outside of home and school and accept them. And I think that's a very good initiative.
I think government is really trying hard also to make the ECCDs inclusive, and some private organizations, like we have Ability Bhutan and Pensem, which has recently been set up by a group of parents who have children. So they all try to work together, and what they have tried to do is get in touch with the ECCDs to see who would be interested to have inclusive education such as this. They've been in touch with us, and Youngri is one of the active ones. Me, I was not ready because I don't have trained teachers for that. I would require that. So there are now options for parents.
I know these are facilitators of private ECCDs here, but the main question for today's conversation is it really necessary for parents to send their children to ECCD centers?
It's up to you. But we are here to support parents with the holistic development, because most parents are not aware of that. We're not aware that there's so much research being done on how putting your children in an ECCD or early childhood or whatever program, how it actually prepares them for transitioning into the next phase of their life. So there isn't much research done, but I think if more parents do that research and see that, oh, this will be good, it'll just benefit your child even more. So it is up to them. It's up to parents,
there are like many aspects to sending your child to ECCD. It's not only about developing your skills, but for the child, most parents don't have time to play with their kids. They're going to office. So rather than keeping your child at home with a babysitter or grandmother who will probably keep the TV on the whole day, you might as well send them to an ECCD where the child will not only have fun but also learn through playing. So that is the way to look at it now.
Different kinds of play.
Different kinds. And the child is happy they're in the ECCD. They're like so happy. Some don't want to even go. They're like, no. We're like, go. We gotta go home now.
It's go home times. I know my daughter was looking forward to going back to school throughout the lockdown.
That means she's happy at the school. So these are the telltale signs of whether she's happy at school or not. Because if a child continuously is reluctant to go to school, you have to find out why. Because without reason, because kids are pure. They act out what they feel. There is no acting, pretending going on there. So that's important also.
Ask your children why or what is happening at school if your child has negative reaction to school. So it is one of your duties to ask and find out why. And sometimes it might not even be a big reason,
yeah.
but it is always wise to find out because
harm
yeah,
done.
no harm there. Yeah.
No harm done. I think it is also then time to reflect on your parenting style, because how you react to your child, the child could then be showing his. So maybe, for example, maybe you are treating school like a punishment. So if that's how you are going to say, oh, I'm going to send you to school because you're not eating, and then he ate his lunch, so why should he go to school now?
Oh,
So
yeah.
you know,
You
you need to reflect and
You have to, what do you say, keep your word there basically, no?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to act out what you have just said, no?
Consistency.
Consistency,
yes.
yes,
I agree.
very important, and most of us are not because
It's hard to be.
human nature is such, no? We are not consistent with many things.
So we have established that sending your child to an ECCD center is optional, but it's definitely proven beneficial. ECCD centers are critical components of early stimulation in that they foster the creative, intellectual, and social development of young minds. So that said, it is still you do not have to send your child to an ECCD center if you or your child you're not ready. What do children learn at ECCD centers, though? You've mentioned that there are ECCD centers that are more structured and more focused on the academics, and then there are also play-based. So what could we expect our children learning from these ECCD centers?
Okay, so this is like something that parents should ask actually when you do go, and if you're curious about sending your children to an ECCD, is what do you teach? How do you keep your children engaged? Mola, no? Those kind of questions. There's a standard that the Ministry of Education has made for us to follow, for all ECCDs to follow. It's called the Bhutan ELDS standard, so early learning development standard. So there are milestones that children of certain ages should be able to reach. At 3 you're supposed to be doing this, 4 this is and then what else? What are the domains? So the domains are physical health, well-being, motor well-being. So the why is it important? Because they need a lot of movement. Why? So we take care of that, and we'll explain to you. It's a very lengthy explanation, so we won't get into that. Then the other thing is the spiritual, cultural domain, which is very Bhutanese, learning about our own culture, learning about where we come from, why are we so uniquely Bhutanese, and all of that stuff. And then the other stuff, which is like learning how to hold a pen, that comes under the gross motor. So all of these domains cover those necessary learning skills that children need to be exposed to at this age. I won't get into the detail because it is very long, but there are 6 developmental milestones, domains that we have to cater to for children who do come to our centers. The other thing which people don't talk about are known as functional skills. Functional skills are skills that will help children become independent and ready for, I always talk about the next life level, but that's what it is, you know. So to make them feel confident, it's very important. So we do, like what you mentioned, cooking and all that stuff, sweeping, doing things by yourself, those kind of activities, and a lot of socializing, how to take turns, how to look at people, what are you supposed to say, how to say las, when to say, all of that stuff is taught through play, of course. So sometimes people do say, why should I send my kid to ECCD? All they do is play. Well, but there are structured play.
The definition of learning needs to be revisited now, especially after this COVID situation, no? Because everybody thinks learning, school, you go. Okay, you learn in school, but now you have to think, no, what are you learning really, You know, what are you, because in the process of learning and trying to get so good grades, you're forgetting so many things also, no. Like, for example, you send your school to expensive boarding school, and while he's away, he's forgetting all the values at home, he forgets housework. boys who go to boarding school even forget to turn that pot, you know.
Oh no.
Like simple things they were, which are useful for our daily life, you know. So schools, I feel, are not really preparing you for life.
I'm glad to have you two here talking about the importance of a parent's role in the upbringing of the child, even when the child is at school. And the importance of the communication between the parent and the child for the perfect, wholesome growth of your child. Because if your child has great teachers and really horrible parents, I don't think the child is going to perform well. And even vice versa, it'll still flop, because it's the partnership between the parent and the teacher that ensures that the child will grow up healthy and confident. With this, I think I have come to the last question, which is what should parents not expect from the ECCD centers?
Alphabets and whatever it is that you call learning for parents, they're doing it anyways on iPad, TV. You tell a child ABC, easy there. Anybody can do that. But develop the skills, try doing that. That's what ECCD does.
So yes, okay.
So for me, I always tell, don't expect. And also, every child is different, no, from each other. Just because your friend said, oh, my child knows this, suddenly you feel, oh, my child doesn't know. Please, that is the worst thing you can do to your child. Always remember yourself as a child and how you felt. When somebody compared you, did you like it? You didn't like it. So don't compare your child. Everything that you felt, you feel your child is feeling. So if you look at it from that angle, always put yourself in your child's shoe, then things will be better. Don't expect the child to suddenly come out and be like, oh, I know everything. Okay, please.
Bill Einstein, yes.
Sorry. So main is, what you have to focus on is that your child is happy. That is important. Life is short. It's important to be happy. So that's what I tell my parents.
What I think they get out of everything that out of everything that we try to package, the curriculum, they say, is that they gain a sense of discipline, and the discipline is important, coming to, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is, I'm supposed to be nice to my friends, I'm supposed to greet my madams, or I'm supposed to say thank you. Those are disciplines. It just comes in place. So I think that is a big skill to have. It's a life skill, and that is one big skill that they will gain if you send your children to an early learning program. But again, it's optional. Now, what to not expect is, don't expect your children to be readers. Don't.
Scholars.
Because, no, they're not
Readers.
going to read. But they will enjoy being read to. They will love books. They love asking questions, like why, or how come, or they become very chatty, and that is nice. But don't expect them to be readers. Don't expect them to have perfect handwriting. They might know some because of what you taught at home, because we don't really do that sort of teaching. But please don't expect them to know the PP curriculum. They don't know the PP curriculum.
Do we as parents need to teach them while they're going to ECCD centers? Do we need to teach them at home? And by teach, I mean the ABCs, the numbers, colors.
Yes, very much.
I think then, yes, if you mean teach, is like basically knowing what's happening in the center, and then maybe doing the same activities at home, so that there's consistency in what the child is learning and what's going inside his brain or her brain. So, but don't go beyond what should be, what is appropriate. Because right now it's different. The learning is different. So talk to your the ECCD or your nursery school, and then see what is being taught, and then do that at home.
If after having watched this show and maybe even having done your own research, if you are adamant that you don't want to send your child to an ECCD center, I would like to ask our facilitators here, what can they do at home to prepare their child for primary school then?
Get them involved in your daily chores. get them to do things with you so that they learn to listen to instructions and follow instructions, because those two, that is very important, Nola. Because once you go to school, you are going to be doing a lot of listening, following, and doing. So doing chores at home, I think, is important. Giving them responsibility is important. Reading to them, but there is a way to read to children that are very young. So maybe look up how to turn book into a conversation on YouTube might help, because it's not about reading, it's about creating a conversation, letting them have the back and forth. So that kind of activity, and
you can involve them in anything you do. So parents, don't be lazy, because it's the laziness of the parents,
yes.
I feel, which, because now they don't want to clean the mess after that, right? So you don't involve your kid.
Yeah.
But you can also know that mess will teach her something. It's okay.
Yeah.
Mess can be cleaned, right? But
And she can help you clean up.
yes, and the child's, the character personality building is going on, which cannot be brought back later. But messes and clothes, unfolded clothes, dirt, grime, all can be cleaned.
I would like to thank both Madam Siring and Madam Youngri for taking this time out and coming here and talking about a very important topic, especially for young parents, because I know a lot of parents out there who are curious and not really sure about how to go about this. So thank you very much. On that note, support each other and stay positive. Bye-bye.